And now for the Q&A.
Today's question comes from Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
She says, "Hey, Ethan, big fan of the show. I'm a
Thank you.
mid 30s mom of two little humans. I have a goal to lose 75 pounds. She says, I have been successful with weight loss in the past, but nothing has stuck. I am fairly active, but struggle with overeating. You speak about how your mindset about food has changed over the years. Did that occur for you naturally, or did you do some kind of therapy to help facilitate this?"
Um, no, I didn't do any specific therapy. Um, and I guess it did happen naturally. It didn't happen overnight. There was a lot of effort put into it. I think probably because I'm sober, I will try to recognize and be aware of compulsions when they come up for me, and so I'll try to think them through and maintain a hold on my desire to not act on my compulsions. And having said that, there are still times where I'll go out and go like I'm going out to dinner with my wife, and my hard and fast rule now when I go out to dinner is I'm just not going to overeat. And there will be times where I'll find myself like, almost in a trance, just shoveling food into my mouth way past the point of full, like having no idea when I blew past the point of being full, just compulsively eating. And I'll kind of have to catch myself and go like, "Oh my god, what's happened here?" So it's not even completely resolved. I don't know that it will ever be resolved. I don't know that that will ever disappear from me. It's just something I've gotten better and better at catching earlier. And I limit the amount of times that I'm presented with food that would be a problem if I overate it. I can overeat broccoli, you know,
Hmm.
that I just never want to
Right.
unless it's, covered in cheese. But if I prepare if I steam my broccoli or even cook it in a pan with no oil, or like 1/4 second spray of aerosolized olive oil on the pan just so it doesn't stick or tarnish the pan, um I'm just not gonna overeat that. I'm not gonna overeat grilled fish. I'm not gonna overeat chicken breasts. I'm gonna have a hard time really even overeating lean ground beef, or celery sticks. Plain white rice I might be able to overeat. So that I like actively count for myself. Like I have gotten pretty darn good at eyeballing a cup of white rice when I have that. But so that was kind of the first step for me, is like distance myself from foods that I would have the proclivity to overeat, and recognizing, like I don't demonize monosodium glutamate, but there is for sure something it does where it masks satiety. So if you have that in a food, it's actually not going to like allow you to feel full. Like
Mm.
Doritos are full of MSG because you'll just keep eating them. You just
Whoa.
won't get full.
Yeah.
Um certain types of food where you have MSG in it, like that's one of the things that MSG really does, is it disguises satiety. It's also makes food unbelievably delicious. So maybe if your food is unbelievably delicious, you're more apt to overeat it anyway.
Hmm.
I can for sure overeat pizza and cheeseburgers and French fries. Those are very easy to overeat, so I almost never eat them. That's kind of the way it goes. I do believe in moderation, but I also like am aware that there's gonna be stuff for me that I'm not gonna have an easy time putting the spoon or fork down. And so I just try to keep my distance from that as much as possible. But while I say that, I'm not like an absolutist. I'll have a couple dashes of toasted sesame seed oil. I'll, you know, I'm I will occasionally eat all this stuff, and I don't want to think of it as bad or off limits, but when I do, I am way more cautious. Way more cautious. I could cook 2 pounds of broccoli. I'm not going to overeat it. But if I prepare 2 pounds of pasta and add meat sauce and Parmesan cheese, I'm not going to sit down with that in front of me because that's risky.
Hmm. That makes so much sense. I like your point of like distancing yourself from those things. That's actually super helpful.
Yeah, I don't think I have great willpower at a drive-through. Um, and so I don't go to drive-throughs, you know. I There was always like a little bit of humiliation for me about walking into a fast food restaurant and ordering food. I don't eat fast food at all anymore, but if I did, like, I would have some rules. I would know what I'm gonna order before I go, and I wouldn't go to the drive-through because the drive-through has some anonymity, and I can just like pretend the person's not staring at me, and I'm not, people can't see me in my car, and there's all these shields in place to block people from seeing what I'm really doing.
Yeah.
um, who knows if that's going to be workable for Caitlin, but that those are kind of the ways I tried to tackle this problem. I really did try to tear it apart and find out what was occurring before I woke up having overeaten. And I don't mean going to sleep, but I mean almost like a lapse of awareness, where one minute I'm cognizant and the next minute I'm realizing I've just overeaten. And like, so with stuff like ice cream, I'm not going to pretend I'm going to eat a third of a pint of ice cream. I'm going to find a pint of ice cream that has, a fraction of the calories, and I'm going to be okay with eating the whole thing.
Yeah. That's awesome. Caitlin, thank you for your question. If you have a question you would like Ethan to answer on the podcast, you can email it to us at americanglutton.net.